Welcome to our English class on how to use was and were. These two words are forms of the verb to be and are used to indicate the past tense. But what is the difference between them? The difference is that was is used with singular subjects. I, he, she, and it in the past tense. For example, I was at the store yesterday. She was happy to see me. The dog was barking all night. And were is used with plural subjects, we, you, they, in the past tense. For example, we were at the beach all day. You were right about the answer. They were excited to go on vacation. Were is also used with singular subjects in the subjunctive mood, which is used to express hypothetical or unlikely situations. For example, if I were you, I would study more. I wish I were taller. Another important fact is that when we use the subject, it, in the plural, we use were. For example, the books were on the table. There were some errors in the report. The lions were in the zoo. To ask questions, the only thing we change is was and were. For example, she was at the beach. To transform it into a question, we will put was first, and then the whole complement. Was she at the beach? And the answer could be, yes, she was. Or, no, she wasn't. The same happens with were. They were at the party. Remember, the only thing we will change is were. Were they at the party? Yes, they were. Or, no, they weren't. Now, let's see it in a conversation.
Hey, how was your day?
It was pretty good. I had a job interview this morning.
Oh, really? How did it go? Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was a bit nervous at first, but once I started talking, I felt more confident.
That's great to hear. What kind of questions were you asked?
They asked about my previous work experience and how I would handle certain situations. I was able to answer them all.
Nice. I'm sure you did well. Were there any difficult questions?
Well, there was one question that caught me off guard. They asked me about a time when I had to deal with a difficult coworker.
Oh, that can be a tough one. How did you respond?
I recalled a situation when I was working on a group project in school, and there was a classmate who wasn't contributing much. I explained how I communicated with them, and found a way to get them involved.
That's a great example. I'm sure they were impressed with your problem-solving skills.
Thanks! I really hope so. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Were you ever asked a similar question in an interview?
Yeah, I remember being asked about a time when I had to handle a difficult customer. I shared a story from my previous job and how I managed to resolve their concerns.
It's always helpful to have those real-life examples ready when you're in an interview. Were you nervous when you were answering the question?
Oh, definitely. I think it's natural to feel a bit nervous during interviews. But once you start talking, it gets easier.
That's true. Practice makes a big difference too. Were you able to practice before your interview?
Yes, I did some mock interviews with a friend, and it helped me feel more prepared. It's always good to practice answering different types of questions.
That's a smart approach. I'll have to remember that for my future interviews. Thanks for the tip.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could help. I'm sure you did great in your interview today. Let's keep our fingers crossed for a positive outcome.
Thanks for the encouragement. I really appreciate it. Let's hope for the best.
Hey Megan, I noticed there were some issues with the project report. Was there something wrong with the data?
Hi Mark, yes, there were a few errors in the data that I was working on. There were some numbers that were entered incorrectly, which affected the overall calculations.
Ah, I see. Were you able to identify the specific entries that were incorrect?
Yes, I was able to locate the problem. There were a couple of rows in the spreadsheet that were not properly updated. I've already fixed them and rechecked the calculations.
Great job, Megan! I appreciate your attention to detail. Were there any other issues that you came across?
Thank you, Mark! Actually, there were a few other minor issues that were brought to my attention. Some of the figures in the charts were not aligned properly. I was able to adjust them, so they look consistent now.
That's good to hear. Were there any significant changes that need to be communicated to the team?
No, not really. The changes I made were mostly cosmetic, so I don't think it's necessary to inform the team. However, I will make sure to mention it during the next team meeting, just to keep everyone informed.
Sounds like a plan. Were there any other updates or concerns you wanted to discuss?
Not at the moment, Mark. I think we've addressed all the major issues. If anything else comes up, I'll make sure to reach out to you.
Perfect, Sarah. Thanks for your hard work on this. I appreciate your diligence in resolving these issues.
You're welcome, Mark. It was a team effort, and I'm glad we were able to tackle these problems together.
So, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I hope you liked it and learned the difference between was and were. Don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up and share. I'll see you in a next video.